Hello and welcome everyone to the second episode of Engineering 101, your little black book to get through engineering in just 4 years, alive and thriving. In this series, we'll be interviewing the amazing and talented girls of the graduating batch 2020 at CCW. I am Medhavi Subedar, Vice President of SWE CCW. Today, we'll be talking to Tripti Chanda, who was placed at Boeing. She was one of the founder members of Rotaract Club at CCW. She was our very own secretary last year, and she's a person with a versatile experience every engineering student should have. Let's look at her journey and make some notes for our own. Hi Dee.
Hello.
So what have you been doing in this lockdown period?
Okay, so this has been a tough time for everybody, I think, but my main goal has been to not make it a dead time as much as possible. So I got placed from college and I was supposed to join in July and move to Bangalore and everything, but all of that got delayed, and I looked at it as an opportunity because then I got to spend all this time with my family, which I didn't think I would get to at the beginning of my career. I was able to start a couple of my own projects, which I had been planning the past 4 years but did not get the time for. I started learning a new language, prepare my backups just in case, cover all my bases. And most of all, I started cooking finally, figuring out how to take care of myself, become as independent as possible. So I think all in all, I've been very lucky. I've been privileged that I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about where we're going because of all these restrictions of the lockdown and the quarantine. And I have also been given the opportunity to make myself better and make the best of the situation.
So let's start with the interview. How did you
Right.
decide to become an engineer, and what does being an engineer means to you?
Okay, so this is kind of a funny story. When I was very young, there were these movies that used to come on every day, every night at on Saturdays on Pogo, and there used to be these Barbie movies. But there was this one time that this Tinkerbell movie came on, and it was about these fairies and how once they were born they had to pick what their superpowers would be. So there were all these fairies which had like water power or fire power, or they could fly super fast or something like that. And then there was Tinkerbell, whose main deal was that she just picked up the items around her and fixed the problem by building something out of those items. And it was the coolest thing ever to me. The, anybody could be Tinkerbell. She could just, it was just plain Jugaad. Like the true essence of engineering, that was Tinkerbell. And that blew my mind completely. And I was very young that time. I didn't even realize what I was falling in love with then. It was just like, yes, this is very cool, and this is something I want to be. I just look at a situation, I look at what the resources are available to me, I'm somehow able to fix it. And later on school and things, there were all these doctor banenge, ye karenge, wo karenge. But then by the time I got to college, I realized that, oh, so that's when it rang a bell. That is what engineering is. What Tinkerbell was doing was engineering. That is what I want to do. And then the rest was history. It's like perfect.
Okay. So how did you find CCW, and how was your first day?
Yeah, so CCW. 12th has I think was a common trauma for everybody, uh, and after that I was a little worried about my college selection. I didn't know how it would happen based on my lower scores in general, but I think it's a testament to that it does not matter how much you score. I mean, this I have realized, it does it's the same thing for your board exams, it's the same thing for your entrance test, it's the same thing for your cutoffs or everything, even during placements. The cutoff, the marks that you have to score, they just get you inside the door, wherever that you need to be. It just gets you. gets your foot in the door. After you get inside the room, it is up to you what you make of it. So even after 12th standard, when I got whatever marks I got, I wasn't sure that I would get any college that I would actually be able to do something with. And last round, Hail Mary pass, I did get Cummins. And it was frankly a dream come true. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything out of my performance, but did get Cummins, and it was an amazing experience all throughout. I would recommend everybody to pick this one college, which has changed my life. First day of college, it was funnily enough my birthday on the first day of college, and I was all dressed up. I'm gonna starting a new chapter in my life, plus a new year, plus meeting all these friends. Everybody must have been totally weirded out. Who is this girl, and why is she all dressed up, and why is she so happy? But yeah, it was fun, and those people that I met on the first day of college, they've been there all through the 4 years in the background of my life, support, being the wind under my wings, and it's been amazing.
So, what is the impact of this 4 years at CCW have left on you?
Okay, so when I first joined the college, I was a little worried because girls' college, and I wasn't sure what I would be. Would this be a disadvantage for me? Plus, I was looking towards I want to be a software engineer, and I did not get that as my first preference. I had to pick electronics based on the marks that I got. So I was a little apprehensive. Everything was not ideal. But then, as time went by, I realized that whatever had happened perfectly, because the previous college options that I had looked at, I attended a couple of orientations. I went to the college, and all the people that I saw, already there was a very low minority of girls in those colleges because engineering, and wherever I did find some girls, I did not find the drive that I find in the girls in this college over there. Nowhere. It was a very rare phenomenon if I saw anything like that. And clubs like Robocon, Baha, it was very hard to find any girls there whatsoever. Because, first of all, in general, females were not even invited to events like this. I mean, one of the orientations that I attended, all the girls were just left to the side. कि तुमको ये देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. I think the first 30 or 40 guys that are standing in front of the group, they can just come in and have a look at the Robocon lab. I didn't even know that the college had anything like that. That concept was never explained to me, and I probably would have not even found out about it until after the competition was over. And similar things for your workshop, for your projects. It wasn't that the women in the college were not taking initiative. They were just deprived or not even considered an option automatically, which was not the case over here. And granted, the world is co-ed, it's not just a single gender, but the way this college prepares you for this world, it gives you the confidence that you are here based on what you have done. This is all your achievement, and it gives you the ability to speak up. It gives you the confidence, and that is very important, especially as a woman in STEM. So that's why Cummins has been perfect for this.
It taught you to stand on your own two feet.
Exactly. And not just that, it also actually made it possible for me to understand how important it is to lift other women up while you are in a field like this. Uh, for example, SWE, that I was a part of. I used to work with Tanya, and the way we had each other's back, the way we worked with everything, the way our professional relationship, it was very different from what I had ever experienced before. And that was something that this college taught me, that this is what a healthy professional relationship between two women looks like. So that was very important.
So, what was your most favorite and least favorite thing in the last 4 years at this college?
Okay, so most favorite thing, hands down, was Robocon. Changed my life again. I mean, first engineering, then this college, and then Robocon. I didn't even know it was something I liked or would be remotely interested in until I was actually in the room watching all of it happen around me. I mean, I remember the orientation that I had went to in my first year. It was completely full. There was no space to stand or sit in the entire auditorium. I was already late and I was standing outside the door trying to peek in what was happening. And a couple of my super seniors, they were the ones who were taking the orientation. And they just asked, they just threw one question into the audience, why do you want to be a part of Robocon? And somebody, but all of the hands went up, obviously. They just picked one at random, and that girl was like, I want to learn something. Like, we're not teaching you anything over here. You can leave. We're not interested in you. Then somebody else said, I want to have fun. This looks like somewhere I would have fun. Like, no, we don't have fun. We do a lot of work. I mean, look at the number of hours that are there in the college, and then after that we put in those number of hours in Robocon. Do you think this is fun for us? We don't have fun. So it's like, okay, you can leave. Then slowly the hands started going down because everybody was confused what exactly they want. And then another person responded, I want to make friends. I want to connect with my seniors, I want to do things. It's just like, no, if you want to network or get exciting opportunities, this is not the place for that. There's lots of professional clubs in the college that you could go to and you could fraternize at and find out more about that. But this is not the place. And then the people over there just didn't know. There were a couple of more answers, but it wasn't what they were looking for. And then she just presented this one thing. This is a game and we want to win. And whoever helps us win is a part of the team. We love what we are doing over here. We love the way the electronics that we use, the robot that we make is an elegant solution to a pretty complicated problem. And we just want to implement it and we just want to win. And we want to be the best at it. It was so simple and it just made complete sense. And that's when I knew I had to be a part of the team. And it was clearly a very good decision because something like that makes you the kind of person that you are. The number of hours that you put in, the work that you do, the things that you learn, and your character as a person completely defined by something like this.
The second part, the least favorite part.
Yes, the bad thing. Okay, so like I like to think that I was pretty active in the 4 years of my life in the college life. I mean, I could have done more. I could have done more things, but then uh, the one thing that I realized was our college has so much to offer for everybody. There are so many opportunities. I mean, it wouldn't look like much if you were to just walk in on a random day. It looks like sort of sleepy place, but then there's so much buzzing happening right under the surface if you just knew where to look. And all these events and talks and guest lectures that are organized and workshops, there's just so much happening. And I knew that whatever event that I went to, I could just, I knew at the top of my head, I already knew the 10 top people that I would see at an event like this. And these people would be there everywhere. Apart from that, I could not convince or try to get any of the other students to participate. And I understand that it could be fear for your grades or for your academics or just disinterest in that particular field and maybe interest in some other field. But the thing is, you are not exploring all your options. These kind of opportunities are not available everywhere. And they are also not available outside this undergraduate environment that you only get to experience once. So you're missing out on such a huge opportunity and you're not even realizing it. And that is something that I believe that really, really needs to be fixed in our college.
Okay. So next question. How many clubs did you join, and what? How did you manage the time? You even founded one, right?
Yeah, okay. So, when I started in my first year, I was just marveling at all the opportunities that are available to us. And I signed up to as many as I could. I found Robocon, I found SWE, joined it as a student representative there. And there were a lot of tiny clubs, all right, that you could be a part of on your own pace. So there was Code Club, then there was eCell, there was the Debate Club, there was the TED Club, which I did not get selected in, but then I did apply a couple of times. Then there were a couple of magazines that I wanted to write at. So there was the Tarang, the department magazine. I was an editor for that. There was Wordsmith. There was the Cummins Chronicle. We had I think the website is still active, but the theme is a little inactive right now. Then we had Mozilla. Then we had Ruby on Rails, and lots of other clubs actually. Basically, my point is okay. So Rotaract, I founded Rotaract in my third year. I was a co-founder with my friend Sanika. She was the president. I was the professional skills director in the same. And okay, yeah. So basically, my point is that with clubs like these, again, these were all about all the opportunities that you could be given, and I just wanted to find out what my own interests are and eliminate things that I don't like, which is what all this college time is for. And like I said in the beginning, there are 24 hours in the day. You are barely spending about 4 or 5 of them in the college, and that also, I mean, are you really attending all of the lectures? You might bunk some of them to go hang out with your friends and everything, and that's fine. You are allowed to have fun. You're only getting one life, you're only going to be young once and everything. But then this is also the time that you can make the most difference. Your brain is still developing. It is trying to absorb as much information as possible. Health wise, you are at your peak. You can give completely physically, and just basically push through it, get done as much as possible. So again, like I said, in our college, people are not participating enough, and that is a big problem. So even all these clubs, I knew कि ये staple है, ये लोग ही मुझे मिलेंगे ये सारे clubs में. So there were a lot of people like me who were a part of all these clubs, and we would just meet. Oh, you are here also. You're here also. You're here also. So we are only doing everything, kind of trying to get other people involved and getting them interested in these clubs, and that is what I think other people were missing out on. There's just dead time which you're not doing anything in, and that is not done. I mean, these 4 years are not coming back. You're not going to get these opportunities again. So avoid that as much as possible, and it's not that big a deal. Frankly, it's very easy to manage all of this. You don't have to sign up for like 13 clubs or anything in the same semester. I did about 2 or 3 at a time. Something like Robocon, you can't have anything else with it. But when I joined Robocon, I joined SWE along with it. And normally my captain, she's very apprehensive. She did not allow us to participate in any other clubs. But when I mentioned SWE to her, she had no qualms about it. She's like, yes, go up and sign up. Because she knew how important it was. She knew how much time it would take. And she knew that it would not interfere with my commitment to Robocon. That is all that is required. You just need to get as much done as possible while juggling everything else, because that is what you're going to have to do for the rest of your life too. You might as well start and learn.
So you got placed at Boeing. So how was the journey of being selected?
Okay, so I feel like with Boeing, I got a little bit lucky because generally you have multiple rounds of selection for each company. And the thing with so generally in placement you will have your first aptitude round, then you will have a couple of technical rounds, and then a last HR round where you're selected. But with Boeing, it was mostly a resume shortlisting procedure, and they had a couple of open profiles that they came with a job description for each. and they asked us to submit our resumes. And based on our resume and what kind of work we had done, what kind of technologies we were familiar with, they shortlisted us for the internship. So this was in the third year when they had come for internship, and then I got a PPO after my internship. So what helped in the situation like this was, I always believed from my first year that college time at that time not done. Same thing with vacation time. I mean, we get a lot of vacation time as compared to the university students who get a week in between semesters in the winter and maybe a month and a half during summer. But we get about a month in winter and 2.5 months in summer, and it is the whole point of getting that is so that we can get as much industry experience, as much projects done as possible. So from my first year, I have attempted to do and one internship at least in every vacation that we had. So before Boeing came in for an internship, I had a considerable amount of experience because of all the other internships that I had done already. And it's not just virtual internships or marketing internships or something like that. You have to do actual technical internships, get your hands dirty. And I found out that the best way to do that was to apply to as many startups as possible. I mean, there are so many townships and cyber cities and things like that in Pune. It's the hub, it's the technological hub. And you can just walk up to all these buildings and drop in your resume. That's how basically I got my internship. I used to talk to people, find out who are the ones who have just started their company, and drop in and send in my resume and tell them what my skills are, what my interests are, and what work am I ready to do. I mean, after first year, you're nobody. You don't have any skills. You haven't specialized in anything. So my main thing was, I'm just here to learn. I will work on anything that you have available, and just give me work, teach me things, show me things. And I did a web development internship over there. After that, I realized, okay, maybe this is not my cup of tea. I did do the job, but I did not enjoy it that much. After that, I applied for another startup close by, and it was an IoT internship. We got to build things, hardware things which were controlled by a website and out of our own hands. And it was an amazing experience. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot, and I realized, okay, so this is something that I actually like doing. So maybe I could explore this in detail. And that is what helped me land Boeing. So my profile for Boeing was as a system engineer, and it was in the team of aviation IoT. And because I had done an IoT internship, it helped me land that. They asked me the concept that I'd worked on, they asked me about my projects, and it matched with what they were aiming for in their profile. So basically, that is what you have to do. You don't have to, I mean, it might not always match what you have done and what the profile demands for, but the amount that you explore, the amount that you find out, and the amount that you eliminate, more are the chances of it matching. You're just increasing your chances for yourself. So again, go out there and get things done.
So, how was your first day in the professional environment?
First day in the office. So, like in Pune, so my internship was in Bangalore, and it was in this place called InfoCity. Again, SEZ, like Pune, and it had a lot of other companies in the same area. So we had, I think, 2 buildings away from us, there was the huge campus for Texas Instruments, and excuse me, right at the beginning of, right at the entrance of the SEZ, there was Oracle. So there were quite a few accomplished people who were heading in there with us. And early morning, all these interns from all over the place. So there were people from IITs and ITs and colleges all over India working with us into these companies, ready for their first day, all excited, like little little kids with their bags. And I went inside, and the first thing I realized was They had not separated us from the rest of the new hirees because we were interns and they were full-time employees. And even in the full-time employees, they had not separated people based on freshers or experienced professionals or technical or managerial positions or anything like that. This is the crop of new hired people, and they will all be onboarded together. And one of the first lessons that we were told in our orientation was you have to address everybody by their name. It is not Medhavi ma'am or ma'am or anything like that. It is just Medhavi, and you call me Tripti, because it's not a sign of disrespect. I'm not trying to put you down or show you that I am better than you because I'm calling you by my first name. It is just showing all of us together that we all stand on the same level professionally. Your designation or the hierarchy comes in when we are working, when you have to report to somebody, or when you have to go through your task, verify the things that you've done. That's the only role the hierarchy plays. Otherwise, as people, as part of the company, we all stand on the same level. And that was something that was very important to understand, that you as an individual are as important to the company as anybody else. And this is something that every college student has to understand, that when you are applying to a company, not only are you interviewing for the company, you are also interviewing the company. You have to understand if you are a fit for the company and the company is a fit for you. What kind of culture you would be going into, what kind of work environment you would be going into, what kind of people you would be working with, and if the kind of growth that the company is providing is what you want in your life. I mean, you could look at, you should always explore. You should find out what the other employees at the company are doing. Go through sites like Glassdoor and stuff like that, and look at the reviews that have been posted. And always take it with a grain of salt, because sometimes it's just disgruntled professionals who are not doing well in the company. But always use your judgment. Find out which ones are genuine. Find out which ones are just, biased against the company. And again, while you're interviewing, so that last question that you're always asked in interviews, you have any questions for us? They're not just being nice कि हमने आपको इतने क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, आप भी हमको एक पूछ लो टाइप्स. ऐसा नहीं है. They actually want you to ask them things. They actually, and it gives them a sign कि okay, this person knows what he or she is talking about. They know what they're looking for, and they're trying to find out if our company is ready to offer all these things to them. So whenever you're applying to a company or whenever you're applying for a position, make sure that you research the role and the company, because you are putting this much effort into making yourself the kind of person that you are. You're building your skills, you are trying to set yourself apart from the crowd, you're doing so much. Plus, as a woman, you have this added disadvantage of being a minority in the field. So you need to take that into account as well. And a company culture that makes the transition smoother, helps you deal with all of this, is very important. And I got lucky that Boeing was a company that was like that. So it helped me understand that this is the kind of work culture that you're supposed to have. And the thing is, I wouldn't have understood that any of these things are important if I didn't have my previous 3 years with SWE. It taught me what are the kind of things that I should be looking for, because it is a professional club. We treat each other professionally over there. And that is the kind of thing that you expect in a corporate environment. So that is the training that I got, and it was very beneficial for me in my, I already had an upper hand as compared to the rest of the people who are still trying to settle in into the environment.
So how was your journey at SWE, and how was your experience at Incube conference, that helped here?
Okay, so my journey with SWE started as a student representative. It was mostly just trying to market the talks and the workshops that we had, the lectures that we did. I used to convince my classmates to attend it as much as possible. because we promised bunk sheets at the end of it, and what else could you want in life? You just go over there, sit in a lecture in the AC for an hour, and then you get a bunk sheet for the rest of the day. It was an amazing trading deal. But then I started paying attention to what was actually happening, what they were talking about. And I realized that for the first time in my life, I could actually see women doing things in the STEM field. In general, in media or whenever you're talking to people, you think about engineer, you visualize a man, you see him sitting in front of a desk doing something, being amazing, talking to his workers or something like that. And then in every scenario, it is this tall, strong man just getting things done. And you can never see what is going to happen if instead of this man there's this woman and she's trying to get work done, or she's trying to talk to all these people. What would happen then? And because you cannot visualize this, because you don't have any role models to look forward to, it is very difficult for you to put yourself out there. It is very difficult for you to understand what your next steps should be. I mean, there were times in interviews that my seniors faced that they were asked questions like, you're interviewing for this position, and a couple of years down the line, you would get married. Then what is the point of interviewing for this? Why should we hire you? Now, a question like this would never be posed to a male professional or a male fresher, and they would not be expected to answer something like this. Again, it you could consider something like this insulting, but given the way the society works, or given the way people in general react to women in industry, it could sound like a valid question too. You're supposed to answer. I mean, what are your priorities in life? And all these women that we talked to or interacted with during my SWE journey helped me understand that that is not what a woman in STEM is. She's not just somebody who is just juggling home life and professional life. She is her her career is different, and her personal life is different, and she can be amazing at both. And she should not be expected to justify her actions or her personal life for her professional, or her professional life for her personal. And I could see all of this because of all the people that we talked to. After that, I got the opportunity to be the student representative manager. So I was in charge of handling all the student reps under me, and my bunk sheet plan was used to encourage the rest of the student reps. But then again, I got to interact with my juniors. I got to introduce them to something very, very special, something that I knew would help them out, and get in touch with as many people as possible. Explore the opportunities, again, network, find out more things. So after that, okay. So in my final year, I was a secretary for the club. And that's when Tanya and I realized that we could finally implement this idea that we had been thinking about for a while. And it was the InCube conference. We used to go to all these other colleges and institutes and see students researching, presenting at conferences, writing papers, and doing all these amazing original things, which we realized that our college could also do. There was so much untapped potential. And it is just that our students didn't think that they would be able to do it, or did not get the opportunity, or just thought it was way too difficult. So we thought that InCube conference would be a simple way to introduce the concept of research, and basically how to do it and what the steps involved would be, to the students. And for the students, I mean, the presenters that we had a mix of industry and student presenters. But the student presenters that we had, they were just presenting the projects that they worked on, or topics that they find interesting, and what novel implementations of these topics could be done. And we were so excited about the prospect. It was a full day conference, and it was a professional conference. So we had invited the students. There was a proper opening ceremony. We had parallel sessions that were going on in multiple locations. And it was it was an experience that Tanya and I had experienced before because of the SWE local conference. And that was something, the feeling of awe and the understanding of how amazing the tech industry is, and the revolutions that are happening over there constantly. That feeling, that emotion was something that we wanted to reproduce with InCube conference. And this was the first year that we did it, and I think it was a pretty good success because we got the students involved, we got the students excited. uh, some of the presentations were amazing, technologies that we weren't even aware of. At the end of our fourth year, first year students were presenting that, and we also got to interact with industry professionals, introducing us to the fields that are the technology that is currently being used in their fields. And that was an amazing experience all around. So I'm hoping that the conference in general keeps on going, and we get more students involved, it gets bigger on scale, and I'm just very happy with the result.
It was a great conference. It will stay with Sweet from here on, of course. So, moving to the next question. Uh, right now, we are facing a challenge of either selecting placements or selecting the higher studies. So, what would you
Hmm.
suggest about that?
Okay, so I think the basic problem comes down, the crux of the matter is that where do you see yourself? I mean, if you, Medhavi, were to talk to Medhavi 5 years in the future, what would you visualize? Would this be a person that is a working professional, or is this a person that has understood what she wants to explore more in life, find out what she wants to do? Basically, so whatever you visualize, you're just trying to manifest that, work backwards from that visualization. So I will give you an example of myself. What I realized was that I did want to pursue higher education. This the now knowledge that I'd garnered from my undergrad, it was just enough to scratch the surface. It was just enough to introduce us to this wide variety of concepts that are available to us, and the basics of each, so that you understand what is going on. But it is not enough to just know what the concept is. If you want to work with it, you need to explore it more, you need to find out more about it, and that is where your masters comes in, with original research that you do. But I realized that I didn't know what field I wanted to explore, and if I hadn't worked in any field before, what would help me pick? And the obvious answer was that I had to work in the tech sector before I realized what was the thing that I wanted to explore more. So for me, the choice was clear. I would work for a couple of years, define my interests a little bit more, and then go for my masters. But then that does not have to be the necessity for everybody. You could be clear about your goal. You could be clear about, okay, so this is what my where my interests lie, and this is where I want to be. And this gap in the middle, this knowledge gap in the middle, can only be filled by a master's or with higher education. And that is what I want to pursue right now. Otherwise, you would realize that the knowledge that I have right now is enough, more than enough, to get me a job and to get help me rise to a position where I want to be. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I see myself at this position at a company this size, and I want to be doing this in my life. So that means that if you want to get there, you need to start working right now, so that you're able to climb up to that position. And if you believe the education that you have right now is enough for that position, then go for it. Start working, start looking for a job. So you can't, this is not an immediate level decision. This is not just what I'm doing for the next 2 years. Am I going for my higher ed, or am I going for my job? This is a 10-year plan that you have to make. So based on this 10-year plan, that's when you'll be able to decide what my next step should be.
So, now
All right.
to the final question. What would you
Okay.
younger self, the one who just entered first year, and also all the juniors? from the current self. Like, this is the advice I wish I had in my first year.
Okay. So, I think in general, when I came to my 12th standard, after my 12th standard to the college, there was still the trauma of the boards and the entrance exams. And I was just scared in general about where I am, where I want to be. And the fear basically stemmed from the fact that I had been giving all these exams, which I believed would make all the difference in my career, in my life. And suddenly, even though the exams were still important, I still had to study for them to make sure that I understood what the concepts were. But this would not be a make and break exam. If you don't do as well as you had hoped, it's going to be fine. And that takes a while to settle in, for you to absorb. And that fear कि marks मेरे लिए कितने ज़्यादा important है, and I still need to keep working like I was working in 12th standard with no distractions, with a laser focus, it made me miss out on a lot in my first semester because I was just completely scared. I was suddenly a small fish in a big pond. I was suddenly exposed to all these new opportunities, and there was still this fear. And if I could just go back, I would just console my younger self. The realization that I got by the end of my second semester of my first year, it's fine, I'm doing fine, and I can do this, I can handle this. I just wish I had got that realization a little bit before. So maybe I could have explored a little more opportunities, found out a little bit more about myself. And for the rest of my juniors, I just want to say that I have talked to some of you, I've listened to some of you, and it just blows my mind how amazing some of you are. I mean, the kind of ideas that you have, the opportunities that are available, the exceptional talent that is a part of our college right now. It's amazing. And I know that you're going to make a mark, and I can't wait to see what you all do. But what I really want to say is, as women in STEM, I just want you to take up the space that is yours, to be loud, and to make sure that everybody knows that you're there. You have earned the place that you have, and you're going to do so much more. And you just need to be loud about it. Make sure that everybody knows that I am here and I'm making a difference. I can't be one of those forgotten women that we used to talk about during our innovation. If you remember the posters that we had put up, all these women who were just lost in history, all the things that they had done, all the advancements in technologies, credit taken by some other person or just never acknowledged. And it's not just about the credit. We don't want name everywhere कि ये किसने किया है, क्या किया है. That is not the whole point. It's the principle of the matter. It is your achievement and you should be able to own up to it. And that is all.
Thank you for this amazing interview, and thank you for your valuable
Thank you.
time. It was a really, really nice experience for me to interview you. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and I really enjoyed talking to you.
Me too. Thank you.
All right.